Captain Nick Turner was born June 1st, 1978, to parents Larry and Judy Turner of Elliott, Iowa. He graduated from Griswold High School in 1997. Nick was active in football, basketball, baseball, track, and choir. He graduated from Central College in 2001 with a degree in general studies. Nick is married to Kimberly Wilson Turner of Colo, Iowa. They have 4 children. Mackenzie is 14, Trevor 7, Addison 4, and Tyler is 2.5 years old. During Nick's senior year, he had decided to join the Marine Corps to become a pilot and follow in his father's footsteps. After serving almost 10 years in the Marine Corps, he is deployed 3 times with Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron 362 out of Kaneohe, Hawaii. His first deployment was to Okinawa with the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit. The second deployment was to Iraq, and his third deployment was to Afghanistan. He attained every qualification that a pilot can achieve in the CH-53 Delta Sea Stallion helicopter prior to joining Marine Helicopter Squadron 1, otherwise known as HMX-1. After a rigorous background check and screening process, he was selected to serve with Marine Helicopter Squadron 1, which has the sole responsibility for transporting the President of the United States, Vice President, Cabinet members, and other VIPs. When the President is on board, the Marine helicopter uses the call sign Marine 1.
Amen.
In addition to its VIP transport role, it is also tasked with the operational testing and evaluation of all new flight systems for all Marine Corps helicopters, and they're nicknamed the Nighthawks. They are headquartered at Marine Corps Air Facility, Quantico, Virginia, and they maintain detachments at Naval Support Facility Anacostia in Washington, D.C., and Andrews Naval Air Facility in Maryland. Flying for the President and other VIPs comes with a great responsibility. Captain Turner has to maintain proficiency in 2 different helicopters, the VH-3 Delta, which is commonly seen on the White House lawn, and the VH-60 November, which is used for international transport. During his 2 years at HMX-1, he has flown the President and Vice President on numerous occasions in the United States as well as places worldwide. His current job as the White House Liaison Officer has him currently out of the cockpit. He is now responsible for planning and coordinating the logistics of the squadron as they prepare for the President to arrive at an event site located in the continental United States or any place worldwide. Please join me in a warm Red Oak welcome for one of our local heroes, Captain Nick Turner. Semper Fi.
Makes it sound a lot sexier than it really is. Actually, I learned quite a bit by that. Where'd you get all that information? I know I didn't write it all. Hey, first off, I'd like to thank the Chamber for having me. This is a real great treat for me, not only to come back home, but to see a lot of the people that I've grown up with over the years, and that have kind of helped raise me. But before I start to do anything, I got one important lady that we got to all say happy birthday to. Today's actually the 30th birthday of my mom.
Dick, you want to sing happy birthday?
Absolutely. You can start it, Larry.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mom. Happy birthday to you.
speech goes tonight. I think I did good just by that alone. So I could probably quit and be ahead, actually. Happy birthday, Mom. I'm here tonight to talk to you about a couple things. One, I want to kind of talk about my progression and how I was able to get to where I got to in the Marine Corps and in my career, but also want to talk a little bit about leadership. Since tonight, the Chamber's here, and you being leaders of the community, businessmen and women and such, all of you are leaders throughout this community. Whether or not you think you are or not, every one of you has a little bit of a leadership role, maybe even a bigger leadership role, and I want to talk about a couple little things, little snippets that I've learned through my career, and things maybe that'll help you out. As Gail told you, I grew up just not too far from here. My roots just a few miles up the road, helping out Grandma and Grandpa on the farm right there, just east of or west of the Nishnabotna River. So that's where I cut a lot of my teeth, doing things, castrating hogs, cleaning out chicken houses, working on combines, and occasionally getting a chance to fly and work on helicopters. What I like to call a classical education, what not too many people get a chance to do. So with that education alone, I think I'm kind of qualified to talk about leadership in little ways. However, the way that I was taught a lot of things about leadership was solely from my family. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those things before I start joining into the Marine Corps side of it. From my brother Philip, who's actually here tonight, along with a lot of my other family, he taught me how to be a competitor. A tremendous competitor. We spent many, many hours in the front yard playing soccer baseball with rules that don't even exist anywhere other than that zip code and that location on Turner Mountain. But growing up through the years, learned how to be a tremendous competitor. I also got to see him become a national champion in the Bible college basketball tournaments. The only national champion, by the way. He reminds me of that. The thing I learned, though, is how to be a competitor, but also how to do it with tremendous class, how to be respectful, how to mind your elders, not puffing, having a big puffy chest and saying, "You see that? I did that. That was me." No, no, no. It was a team. It was a team that did that. From my sister Elizabeth, I learned how to have fun. The only problem with that was sometimes my sister would go just a little bit further than those toes would go across the line, and she'd come home with a few toes gone. But she taught me how to have fun, how to just take the time, take a step back, and really look at things in the big picture and have a great time, have fun doing things. From my brother Jim, I learned honesty. When I was a kid, very young, I was getting ready to go to a skating party right down the street, right down here where there used to be a skate land or whatever it was. Spent a lot of time there, but they used to have an arcade there, and I remember there being, 4 or 5 quarters on his dresser, and I was getting ready, and he was going to drive me there, and I was like, well, I'd really like to have those quarters to take with me to go play some arcade games, so I took them. Didn't say anything to him about them. Getting ready to leave, he go grabs his wallet, he comes and says, "Hey, where'd those quarters go on my dresser? You see them?" I was like, "No, I haven't seen them." He's like, "Really? You sure? You haven't seen them?" And I hung my head and I said, "Yeah, I actually did. I took them." And he's like, "Well, why'd you take them?" I was like, "Well, I wanted them to go play arcade games." He's like, "Well, I was going to give those to you. I actually had kept those aside for you." And my heart sunk down in my chest, and I was like, man, now I really feel like an idiot. And he's like, "Do you think I should give them to you?" I was like, "No, I don't think you should." And he didn't. And it taught me a pretty quick and heartfelt lesson at a young age. My brother Tim, probably the hardest working man I have ever met. And God rest his soul, he's not here tonight, but there is no one that could outwork my brother. No one. He taught me how to work hard. From my brother Mike, he taught me how to overcome tremendous adversity. It's something that is very important, especially in today's world. My brother Mike's in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair for 25 plus years, and he didn't let it slow him down. When crying out loud, he's got a master's degree. From my sister Jan, she taught me how to be generous, how to sacrifice. By far the most generous person I have ever met. If she had one shirt on her back and needed a shirt, that was your shirt. Pretty important. And last but not least, my mom and dad. My mom taught me how to listen, to learn, and to evaluate. Take a step back, see what you've learned, and then apply it. And then my dad, probably the most important thing that I've learned out of all those things was how to have respect for your elders. And how to leave things better than when you were there. You borrowed your buddy's truck, you brought it back with a full tank of gas, you washed it, things like that. And all those things may seem like simple things. They're actually extremely important, and they helped me get to where I am today. So from these things, you can learn about how morals, values, small town Iowa, things like that, although they get washed away a lot of times, if you come back to them, it's pretty important. I was given a chance to be a leader again on the sports field, playing football up in Griswold, and then ultimately playing football in college at Central over in Pella. And two people, again, that taught me a lot with my coaches. Coach Tom Moore, which some people liked him, some people didn't because he was a pretty hard person. And then Coach Rick Kakmarinsky. They taught me how to be humble and how to lead when things aren't going the best. Leaders usually step up when things aren't going the best, and they say, hey, let's round up the Valley of the Troops. We're going to take this and we're going to go there. Who's coming with me? And if you look at them with open eyes and a stern heart, you'd be surprised how many people will follow you. So like Gail said, by the time I was a junior, I decided that I was going to go to the Marine Corps. And when I joined the Marine Corps, you go through a whole process of officer candidate school. And at least for the officer side, and then the basic school where they teach you basic leadership. They break you down completely, down to you're the basic civilian coming in. They break you down and then they build you up. They give you the tools. They give you the ways to talk to enlisted Marines. They give you the knowledge. When you're put in situations where it's a life or death matter and there's high stress, you can make an educated decision in a heartbeat and know that it's the right decision and know that you're going to bring your people home. A mentor of mine was my first commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Minaldi, who just retired not too long ago. And he told me, he's like, Nick, when you come up through the ranks, you're going to have lots of leaders that you meet over the years. Learn from them. Learn from the good ones, learn from the bad ones. When you find a good one, take them. Bring them tight into you. Take all the things that they do, put them in your tool bag. But don't naysay those bad leaders. Listen to them. Learn from them so you know what not to do when you are put in that situation. And that really hit me hard when he told me that, because now, after I've seen so many different leaders, it's very easy to pull out the good things. It's very easy also to go down the easy path, to take shortcuts, to do the little things that may give you the advantage. And I try as hard as I can to work on things like that. And from the mentoring I received through the years, I was given the tremendous opportunity of actually being able to lead Marines. I'll tell you, there's no greater gift that you can be given than actually be able to lead, and to be able to lead Marines, and to be able to stand in front of people when there's uncertainty, and they say, hey, what are we going to do? I know exactly what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to execute it. We're going to bring everybody home. I remember very vividly a young enlisted Marine, Lance Corporal Minjaras, goofy-looking kid, 19 years old, could barely tie his shoes, but he was one of the best mechanics I've ever seen. I don't even know if he knew how to spell his last name. But he had a tremendous issue with confidence. He was very timid. He was very easy. The guys in the shop gave him a real hard time. And I was out pre-flying an aircraft with him one day, and we were looking around the plane, and the CH-53 is a big helicopter. And we took a lot of time going around, looking at the engine, looking at the gearboxes, looking at little things. And I knew he was very timid. He wouldn't even speak to me because I was his OIC at the time, his officer in charge. And at the time, the differences between the enlisted and officer ranks, a lot of times they didn't talk unless you were spoken to. And I knew he was a timid guy, so I had to try and find a way to reach this kid and try and get him to break out of his shell. So I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you know about this right here? And knowing what a Mechanica was, I knew what kind of answers I was going to get. He gave me a dissertation of the whole engine, fuel control, things that I didn't even know, that literally blew my mind. And I could see this kid break out of his shell and start to really come to his own. And then when he got back to the shop, he started telling people what he knew. And it did tremendous things for him. Because if you ever taught somebody something, you don't really know how well you know it until you have to teach it to somebody. Because if you try to teach somebody something and you know what you're saying, you're going to find out pretty quick. And this kid knew it cold. And it's the first time he had a chance to teach something to an officer. And he taught me some stuff. And after that, the sky was the limit for this kid. And I don't know where he's at today, but hopefully I'll link back up with him. But being in front of Marines is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. There's a saying that an old gunny said once to me, Marines and mother-in-laws have the uncanny ability to smell BS. And if you think about that for a second, it has a lot of truth to it. So if you're going to stand up in front of a bunch of Marines, you damn well better know what you're going to say. And you damn well better know how you're going to say it. So luckily, I've had a great run. I've had tremendous deployments, met some tremendous Marines. And then it's also ultimately led me from all the things I did as a kid to being able to do what I do now. I've had two years of just a tremendous ride. And I'm hoping that this wave never comes crashing down, because I've been at the top of this wave for a while. And I've had the opportunity, to fly our Commander-in-Chief and the President. Like him or not, and that's a point of contention for some people. If you believe in the Constitution and you believe in the institution of the presidency, it's pretty cool, and I have to take a step back every now and again and go, wow, what I'm doing is pretty awesome. Especially when I get a chance to land on that small little postage stamp of the ground called the South Lawn, which is inside the restricted area. And by the way, if you screw up, there's going to be a lot of people that shoot you down. So, take that for what it's worth. A few of the quotes that I've kind of kept with me, talking about leadership throughout the years, and I want you to think about them as I say them, and take a second. But know yourself and seek self-improvement. Nobody knows you better than you. If your knee hurts, you're the only one that knows that knee hurts unless you're hobbling around. But if there's things that you know about yourself that ain't so great, find a way to improve upon them, And those are things that I've tried to do along the way that aren't necessarily the easiest thing to do. Do the right thing even when nobody's looking. That is probably one of the things that I try to keep along with me that's paid a lot of dividends, because every now and again somebody's going to see you, they're going to see you doing that thing, and they're going to pat you on the back. Kind of cool. Don't miss out on an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. I.e. listen. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you should share it. Something to think about. And then last but not least, everyone can benefit from eating a little humble pie. I stand up here today with a pretty puffy chest a lot of times, but I can go home and have my children put me in line just like that. So being able to eat a little humble pie is pretty impressive. In closing, I'd like to thank you all for having me here. Hopefully you take a few of the words that I said tonight and a few of the lessons that I've learned over my years to heart. Being leaders in the community, I know you're all in leadership positions. There may be some people that are working for you or people in the community that are struggling. Give them a chance. Give them the ability to lead. Put them in situations where they can lead for you. And I'll tell you, just like Lance Corporal Minjaras, you'll be amazed if just a little puff of air you put underneath somebody where they can go. So in closing, thanks for having me. And I think I got an email a little bit ago that said Brian Lorette's buying the last round of beers.
Well, thank you, Captain Turner. That was awesome, and it was a pleasure hearing your talk a little bit, and just hear something to show our appreciation for you taking time out of your busy schedule to come here and talk to us. So the only other stipulation is you have to open this right now.
Nice? No. Oh, cool.